Just reset. Hold on. Wait, just pause for like 5 seconds and then go for it.
We just finished watching Singin' in the Rain.
It's a musical. When was it created?
1951.
Did you take? You took note of that? Oh, good. Okay.
Though it was set in 1927 at the rise of the sound pictures. Sound.
Deep rise. So.
Okay, plot synopsis. Well, it starts out on a red carpet for the opening of a very movie starring Hollywood's hottest couple.
Lena Lamont and Don Lockwood. Yes. Yeah. And they're a handsome couple. And so it's their latest picture, and then they ask Don how they got to this point, and then he gives kind of a background, and then they go ahead, and the rest of the movie is them dealing with the transition of the movie industry from silent films to films with sound in them.
Yes. Yes.
And their struggles to adapt in an ever-changing industry. It's also a love story. Let's do the things we liked about it, okay? Dan, you go first.
Okay. I really like the sort of fantastical style of it. The production crew actually rated the sets of old films for their props.
From MGM.
Yeah, MGM films for their props, and so it was. I don't know. It had a very nice sort of style to it.
I don't know. I really hate watching musical movies, but for some reason I really did like this movie. Let's say Bollywood movies. Every Bollywood movie, of course, I have to. Every Bollywood movie has a song in every other scene, and it's kind of tiring. But what this movie did, I don't know, the amount of songs were appropriate and the length.
Anyway, the songs I thought just contributed to the movie in that they're just fun to watch. I mean, there's three extremely talented people sort of in your leads, and they can all dance, they can all sing, and they're all extremely handsome, and so it's just like, it's sort of this overall picture of being a great Hollywood actor that you get with all the songs, and they're all lavishly set up, and the sets are colorful, and they're really cool, and
costumes as well.
Yeah, everything's just way larger than life, and they don't really need special effects to achieve that, which is kind of cool. It's sort of an old-timey look back on how making a movie used to be, and that it was a lot harder, and you needed more talented people to do it. Something that'll dull a movie for me is if it takes too long in one sort of type of location. Anyway, just like
you did not like 12 Angry Men.
Yeah. Anyway, but they sort of run you through a bunch of different locales, and they set them up really well. There's this one scene where they're walking through the studio, and you just walk by like 5 different movie sets in production. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and people yelling and saying, punch him, start screaming, run to the left. They're doing a lot of that. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of vibrant colors. There's a lot of people running around. It's a visually interesting movie to sort of see where they go, how they get there, and it's just fun to watch.
At the same time, it's not too much. It's not like way too many things happening. It's a very clear plot, and it's fun, easy to follow. But they just added enough things in the scenes, the extras, to make it interesting, but not too much information to process.
Yeah, on the notes of the sort of tribute to Hollywood thing, it's definitely got a nice, interesting mix of both a satirical look at the production of movies as well as a sort of romanticized. Mm-hmm. There's this, at the very beginning, Gene Kelly sort of gives his origin story, and he's basically lying through his teeth about all this stuff, but and in the movie we see like all that's really going on, and he says a phrase that he claims to have always kept with him: dignity, always dignity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's sort of made fun of throughout the thing.
I mean, there's a lot of. It almost feels like you're backstage sometimes, behind the scenes, looking at what Hollywood must have been like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, I think now.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of. There's a reason it's number 8 is because it's a very. I don't want to say accurate, not accurate. It's a great tribute to Hollywood and what Hollywood stands for, and the good and the bad and everything in between, and it's cool. It's a pretty straightforward movie with some nice, interesting, colorful, fun to watch flourishes.
Yeah, I would suggest it. There's definitely a lot of iconic scenes. I know two off the top of my head. Easily, the Singing in the Rain scene, where the movie gets its name from.
And they mentioned Singing in the Rain like 15,000 times.
Yeah,
of course, the movie.
And the final scene when Gene Kelly announces that it's actually Catherine, Kathy's it was Kathy's voice that was throughout the entire movie, which is because the sound of it is what made the movie like set apart, like that she gets noticed, and when she turns around with like her eyes, when you can see her crying with her eyes. There's no eyes. That'd be more of an iconic scene if there was just no eyes.
The horror movie is the last 5 minutes.
That'd be very surprisable. Can you think of another iconic scene in the movie?
Probably the more modern scene where he's talking about like the final musical scene.
You mean Broadway Melody?
Broadway Melody.
Yeah.
Very long one.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So they show up and there's he's in the dark and there's like a beam of light and then the camera falls back. It's like casino. And there's lights everywhere and then people run in. I love that scene.
I would say that was pretty iconic.
Yeah, so McFarlane actually did a tribute to a Singing in the Rain song. He has a great voice, by the way. I
strongly recommend his voice.
Actually, you want to mount that for me?
Well, I mean,
I strongly recommend his voice.
Yes.
There we go.
But yeah, it's very well done. Yeah, but that's actually a big part of the movie. When the movies were only silent, Lena was great because she's this very pretty actress, and that's pretty much all you needed in silent films. But once sound was introduced, you realize that the studio has been hiding her voice from the public because she sounds very high pitched.
It sounds like New York City, terrible squealy.
Like a lot worse too, because she can't even pronounce things properly.
Can't.
Fine. Yeah.
So
what the solution is to that problem is dubbing, where they take this girl that Gene Kelly's character, what's his name? Gene Kelly's character.
Don.
Donald.
It's just Don.
Donald Lockwood.
The Don.
But I lost track of where. But Don falls in love with this girl, Kathy, who he finds on the street, who criticizes him about his movies and how he's not a true actor as she is. And this sticks with him as this is the first time anyone's ever criticized him, and a girl at that who hasn't fallen for his looks. So he's taken aback by that, and he finds out she's actually very talented. And
I mean, he's like super handsome, so I don't know what she was thinking, but
yes.
So then so he goes ahead and has her, who then falls for him head over heels when he takes her into the studio and says "I love you" in song for like 7 minutes, and then she goes ahead and they find out that she actually has a voice, which apparently they didn't realize before, so that she has a voice. Then they have her dub over all of Lena's terrible lines. Yeah, all those. And Yeah, everybody ends up happy in the end except for Lena.
But she actually,
She doesn't deserve happiness.
she becomes
She
the
deserves very well.
antagonist.
No, she is the antagonist.
What she becomes. Can you say that she was the antagonist in the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
What did she do wrong in the beginning?
She had a terrible voice in the beginning of the movie.
When those silent films, she was just this popular actress.
Did you like her at the beginning of the movie?
I didn't hate her. I thought she was funny.
Yeah, she was funny. She was like a comic relief.
I didn't have anything against her. I was just like, oh, okay.
She doesn't become the antagonist until like she's threatening the other girl. Or like,
Yeah. Okay.
She's like,
Okay, things we didn't like.
there were some cutscenes which were not, like, that were obviously bad. Continuity.
Yeah, there was one in
I mean, it's
particular.
1950s. You can't blame them for having editing problems.
Yeah, there was one issue in particular that just made me very unhappy. Was they're in the room and Don's talking to the head of the studio, whose name I don't remember, and he's with his friend, whose name I also don't remember. Donald O'Connor's character, I don't remember what his name was though. Was it
Carlos?
I don't think it was Carlos. I was saying I don't think it was Carlos.
I mean,
His last name was
Donald O'Connor. Just call him Donald.
Yeah, Donald O'Connor's character, and they're talking about how they're going to turn the dancing. What was it? Something Cavalier into the Dancing Cavalier, make a musical out of this movie that is so terrible.
The Dueling Cavaliers.
The Dueling
original silent film.
Okay, so then they're going to make that. They're going to make it a musical, and it's going to be all fantastic. And they're talking about how far they are in the film, and he says we just have one scene. We have one scene and one more musical number to film. And then he goes, okay, tell me about this musical number. And he goes, oh, okay, let me tell you about the musical number. This is what I want to see happen. And then it just sort of like zooms in, and then it blacks out, and then you get Broadway Melody, this whole big elaborate scene just thrown in there. And it's just a very awkward transition into what they obviously just needed one more musical in the movie, and so they had to find a way to fit it in. And it kind of annoyed me a little bit, but Broadway Melody is such an entertaining 10-minute or so thing that I didn't really care that much.
Cosmo Brown.
His name was Cosmo.
Cosmo.
It's just,
Started with C.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you did want to throw in a huge number like that, yeah, that would be a bit unrealistic.
I mean, at many points, Singin' in the Rain was obviously, we actually found out they started with the music and then fit the plot around it, but obviously it was like, at some points it was very obvious that they were just fitting the plot around the music numbers, which, I mean, charming enough as it is, I found it vaguely charming, but still not very, it's there. It's kind of aggravating at some point.
I don't know, I didn't really see, I just kind of saw that as, I don't know, it just was there, and I didn't really think much of it. Usually things like that would bother me, but I was just very impressed by the rest of the film that didn't bother me. I think we should wrap up. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I would say probably deserves its place on the list.
Singin' in the Rain is a fantastic movie, and I said that before we watched it because I'd seen it before. It's so much fun, just generally speaking. It's great to watch.
Shows you that musicals and the fact that it's a pretty old movie. Not very old, but if you, for young kids who are not exposed to that, I would definitely suggest watching this movie because it is fun and exciting.
It's pretty awesome.
Thanks for watching.